Good evening, Malaysia and followers from around the world. Kong Si Fa Chai, Happy New Year. We are pleased to have with us Dato' Yasmin Mahmud back with us again. She really needs no introduction, okay? We know her. But just for recap purposes, I will just give a short intro about her. She calls herself, okay, a tech geek, an industry veteran. She was the CEO of Malaysia Digital Economic Corp, or MDEC. She was the MD for Microsoft Malaysia, the GM for Dell Malaysia, and GM for Hewlett Packard Malaysia. I mean, it's an impressive resume. She continues to be involved in the Malaysian corporate scene, and we are pleased that she has found time with us to talk about a subject she really loves and a subject she really knows. Okay, now the hot topic now, Yasmin, is that there's this controversy and the concern, if not fear, among the Malaysians as well as the 2 billion users of WhatsApp. I've got this old aunties in my WhatsApp group asking me, okay, should they change to Signal? Okay, I'm wondering, like, do you really need to change to Signal? Are there any secret things that you're worried about? I mean, are these concerns real? And what are our fears? Are they justified or exaggerated, Jasmine?
Okay, all right. So first of all, Kongsi Pachai, and good to be back. Okay, so what it was really an uproar, that happened. I just like you, I have a lot of my friends, who actually call up and say what's happening and so on. And if you look at the actual, I didn't actually get the pop-up message. Did you? Did you get the pop-up message? No, right? But I got a copy of it.
Okay.
Right. So, and it was actually quite scary in the sense that it says that, we've already I've already changed our terms and conditions of our privacy T&Cs, and you have to accept it. If you don't, by February 18th, you cannot use the service anymore. Mm-hmm. Right. So if you say something like that, without any build up to it, without really understanding what it is, of course, it was something that you only have a few weeks to actually make that decision. Mm. So I, like everybody else, I just got it and I said, oh, wow. So my friends were all saying, go and download Signal. So I actually did it because it was like, what the hell is happening? So might as well have a fallback. Yes. So so at that point of time, I actually downloaded Signal. But since then, the uproar has kind of calmed down, because Facebook, WhatsApp had announced that they are deferring this so-called new policy to sometime in May, and they're gonna go about to educate the public, because they say that it is only meant for business users. Now, that WhatsApp is a free app. And, in our last discussion, we talked about it, right? Mm-hmm. If the product is free, then we are the product. So what WhatsApp has been doing over the last a year or so, they have been trying to monetize somewhat by creating this business use. So that as a company, if you can have a business a WhatsApp account, that all your interaction goes through that, and you have to pay. You pay something like, I don't know what the rate now is, but it's something like, it used to be, I think last year it was about 4 cents for US cent per transaction, right? So they're trying to monetize it. So they clarified that this new policy is supposed to be only for only for business users, right? So we'll see over the next they have to really clarify this. I think at best it was really a botched up communications. I worked in multinationals before, right? I think some heads are going to roll at the way in which this was rolled out, comms wise. But we will know. I mean, I've been reading I have been reading what this new policy is, and I've been educating myself as well, because everybody asked me, so I better know, right? I think we will have to find out more. But what's good is that it raises the whole awareness about the data that we share with our platform providers, and what this data is used for. And are we comfortable with this data being used, what data is being used, and for what purpose? So I think the good part is, I think it triggered. Remember when we were discussing about social dilemma, right, Chin Wai? I was questioning about why are users not more concerned about the fact that we are giving away our data, our privacy to people, and we are not having, especially the millennials, not having a second thought about it. But what's happening right now, I think it's a wake-up call. So that's the good part.
Yasmin, you talk about terms and conditions. Now you are asked to accept it, or else you won't be able to use the service. Now, when we look at terms and conditions, half the time we have no idea what we're talking about. I have no idea. They use English which nobody understands. I think that's the purpose. You don't understand it, and because we are so impatient, we just want to use the service, install it, and we just say, "I agree." Okay, it's the same with cookies. We agree. We agree to everything. Okay, because you want that service, but seriously, how many of us really check and understand terms and conditions? And that's the dilemma of most users around the world, anywhere.
Yeah. I mean, I have never read the terms and conditions. Just like when you apply for bank loans or insurance, right? You just don't bother to go and read all the fine lines, right? But the big difference is for banks and those insurance companies, that's why they are regulated.
Yes.
So you can rest assured that and it's very mature. So it's over the years already. So whatever kinks in the system would have already been addressed. But we are going to now new frontiers, in this. And I have to admit also, I just, when all this uproar happened, then I actually went in to read the terms and conditions. And what I discovered, what I discovered is that whatever the uproar, the fear, okay, now let's just dissect the fear, right? So the big fear from the aunties, from my friends, is the fact that, are they going to eavesdrop? Are they going to see whatever message? Now that part, I find it comforting to know that no, the full end-to-end encryption means that that they will not be able to see actually the specific message that you send, and they're not motivated to know what who you speak to on what. They're not motivated. Their commercial model is hinging on the fact of targeted ads, right? So if you go to look into the terms and conditions, and you're right, it is so convoluted, it is so complex, and until now, after going through it a few times, I still don't quite understand what they're actually doing, right? So now, if you look at the terms and conditions, it says that even now, that they have the right to collect user information, to operate, to improve, to understand, customize, support, and market our products. Yeah. And then they list down what are this information. So usage and logs. So which means that they know behavior, how long, where do we go, what website we go to, right? They also say device identifiers, which means that they have the right to look into what handphone model, what OS, what browser details, what mobile network, what language. It's all stated in the terms and conditions, location, and cookies. So they have already, as it is right now, they already have the right. But I believe in the past, there was, I can't verify this, but I think in the past, they had an opt-out. That means this is the terms, and then if you don't want to do it, then you can opt out. But I don't know where is this opt-out, because I don't see this opt-out function right now. If it's there, I don't know. It's not that easy to go to, right? And it looks like, based on this, the February 8th so-called thing, it looks like they are not going to have it an opt-out. So that's why it's a concern. So I still think it's a concern. We still have until May to kind of figure it out, right? But don't have to worry about people eavesdropping into what we are saying, because the encryption is there, and also they're not motivated to know what you and I talk about. But what we should be concerned about is what we should be concerned, even from the social dilemma perspective, right? We should be concerned about our privacy, our data that is being used to target as a targeted ad and to lure us to stay onto the platform as much as possible.
Yasmin, I think that there was this concern about WhatsApp, but I think many people do not realize that even for normal sites, websites, they have this algorithm which actually knows your behavioral pattern, and that it's not just about stealing information, but actually your your pattern of consumption, okay? So that
Yes. Yes.
as companies that they will be able to track down what kind of advertisement should be pushed to you. Like for example, I use Netflix a lot. They can tell exactly what kind of movies that I watch, okay? If I were to, I mean, I'm the type who watches a lot of or action-packed movies. So they give you this push of movies that say, oh, it matches your kind of shows, 96%, 66%, or 70%.
Yeah.
So it's quite normal. And
Yeah.
that if you're reading some news websites, okay, we can tell that, okay, if you the type who likes to read up about Thailand, so we push you the holiday package in Thailand. So it's actually quite common because we have signed that away. Right now.
Yes. Yes.
Back to this earlier question, okay? Now, if there was concern over WhatsApp, why should there be less concern over Telegram or Signal? Why should we feel less about Signal or Telegram? Why are these exceptional?
Okay, so you talk about messaging. I mean, you're right in saying that all platform that has got this business model of free, and therefore you are the product, that means they will monetize it through other ways. They monetize it through algorithms. But Netflix, I think I have to just separate Netflix, because Netflix, you pay for it. Yeah. You pay for it, and what they use your information is very confined towards preference. So it's more of a recommendation. It's not targeted, not ad targeting. So, but the rest of the free app, as well as the rest of the messaging, like Telegram, WeChat, and so on, right? You're absolutely right. They are the same. We have the same fear. It's just that WhatsApp is so huge. I mean, if tomorrow Telegram says that, I am going to switch off my service to you, there wouldn't be this kind of uproar. I mean, they might be, but not to this extent, because Telegram, I think, as I can't remember, I think it's about 9, can't remember what is the Telegram, but WhatsApp is already 2 billion. Yeah. 2 billion users, So that is anything that happens in that WhatsApp. That's why we have to worry more. But this whole thing about the concern about how data is being used, yes, I mean, WeChat uses the same business model. Now, Signal, okay, that is why I was, you're asking how come Signal suddenly became the big alternative. I mean, after this uproar, I was reading somewhere that they added 2 million users in just 12 hours, after yes. the whole WhatsApp uproar. And then apparently in the month of January, they just kind of like double. I mean, I can't verify this, but kind of double their user base. It's about 20 million. So they're like 6 years old, 20 million, and probably now they are 40 million. So there was a big thing. So why Signal? Okay, so first of all, I think it was some celebrities. I think Elon Musk yes. Was the one who said that, hey, you should go for Signal.
Ever.
Yeah. So there were some celebrities actually. So there was this either maybe it was all orchestrated, but maybe it was just coincident. And they claim that they have this, they have got this end-to-end encryption. But actually, when I was going through the details and talking to some technical people out there, they were saying that the encryption is everybody users adopt some level of standards in encryption. So WhatsApp, Telegram, everybody does that. But the thing is, maybe Signal, they promise, this is their proposition, they're going to make it so secure, so they make this promise. And I think it's still work in progress because they're still a young company. But the big differentiation about Signal compared to the rest is their business model. Their business model is one that is not on targeted ad. They make it known, I'm not interested in your content, because their business model is based on donations. It's kind of like Wikipedia. Wikipedia, you just it maintains it as a community, right? So the community will go and do the donation. But also, how Signal started. Signal started based on a loan from Brian Anton, who I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly, but he is the co-founder of WhatsApp.
Oh, okay.
Remember this big news about how these 2 young founders of WhatsApp sold WhatsApp to Facebook for 22 billion, right? So these are the people. So I think after a few years, he left Facebook. and started Signal and gave a loan. I think I can't verify it, but apparently he gave a loan of about 50 million loan. So. And they said that, okay, because he left, apparently, the speculation is that he left because he was concerned about how Facebook commercial model is, right? So therefore he started Signal, and the Signal, he says that he doesn't want to, it's not ad targeting, so he's not going to be interested in your content. They just want to maintain your privacy. They're even going to the extent where, they were planning to do, like, when you upload something, even the images are blurred so that you can actually maintain the privacy, right? So in a way, that's why people are kind of watching Signal, because theirs is a different business model compared to the other messaging platforms.
My first installation of Telegram was during the last general election. Okay, so I must share this interesting anecdote with you. So I had a call from a really high-ranking Malaysian Home Ministry officer, and I mean high-ranking. Okay, so he told me, Shunmai, I'm not going to have this conversation with you over text in WhatsApp. Can you switch on to Telegram, because I can guarantee you it's much safer. I said, whoa, okay. So this big guy is telling me to switch to Telegram, and he's telling me WhatsApp is not safe. And I'm like, okay. So I decided to change to Telegram. But the problem with us is that we are all creatures of habit, okay?
Yes,
and
yes.
that I continue with WhatsApp. And the best part is this man who advised me to use Telegram was still communicating with me via WhatsApp, okay?
Yeah, but actually at that point of time, I think during the elections, Facebook, WhatsApp has not really implemented their end-to-end encryption. So there is some concern, about that. But now, they have now already, I think it was 2 years ago that they implemented the end-to-end encryption. So, but you're absolutely right. I mean, the 2 billion users, we are so used to WhatsApp. It's not going to be easy for us to move away from it. So let's see what happens. I think moving forward, I think they will have to succumb to some pressure. I mean, this uproar, they were Hong Kong government, I think Indian government, the US government, all waiting to say that, hey, what are you guys doing? So I think there will be some level of big brother kind of watchful eyes on them. But I think fundamentally, Chinwai, is this, I mean, when I look at innovation, and if you look at innovation, this is only in social media, in messaging. Later on, you look into artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, right? I think the fundamental issue is that these are tech innovators. Like the Signal CEO, he was an ex-Twitter, quite a well-known developer from the Twitter community. And he says that, I don't want to be a nanny, tech. We are techies. We just want to solve your problem. Right. So, and, so we don't want to be the referee of what's right, what's wrong. I think this is the whole discussion, Twitter, Facebook, now with all the hate crimes and all the terrorism, and, they're saying that why can't you do some level of monitoring, right? I mean, it's like in your business, right? I mean, in newspaper, you are so accountable to whatever news that gets in, and people have to pay for that accountability. Yes. But they're saying that I'm free. So I already put in if you look at the standard terms and conditions, they did say that you're not allowed to use this for purposes of instigating crime or anything that is against the law. So they kind of like qualified themselves for that, but they said that they're not a nanny company. And this is a quote from this Signal CEO. There is no morality attached to technology. People attach morality to technology. So we said that when technology is being used for bad purposes, why look at the technology? Look at the people who has the intention of that bad purpose. So I think this is going to be and the tech guys, right? They are typically young people. And they just want to, and when they want to solve a problem and come up with a feature, right? They are so excited about it, and they have got blind us towards the other repercussions. It's about, oh, this is exciting, let's do it. I mean, I know because I deal a lot with this hotshot tech developers, right? You give them a problem and the first thing they do, can do it, let's do it. But they forgot about the repercussions, the side effects.
And then comes the part of making money. As if all companies, as they grow, they need to hire people. Somebody has got to pay the bills. Somebody has got to pay your salaries. Okay.
Yeah.
So we know that Facebook and Google makes a lot of money. They have actually stolen away a lot of money from people, for the media like me. Okay. 80% of media ads goes to Google and Facebook. So we are left begging for the crumbs. Okay. Now, so obviously that Facebook needs to make money from WhatsApp. Nothing is for free. Okay. So there have been suggestions like, hey, maybe you have to pay US $1 for the use of WhatsApp. Okay. Do you think that asking users to pay for the services in this free culture, okay, a lot of us would not want to pay for anything. They want everything for free. Do you think if it says you have to pay for US $1, if you are so worried about data, if you are so worried about us pushing advertisements to you, do you think it will work?
Okay, specifically to messaging, to WhatsApp, I think that train has left the station.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're just making so much money already out of this advertising. Charging $1 is not going to, it's not going to give them the kind of Wall Street expectation.
That's for them.
Returns, and people are comfortable. People are too sunk in, too sunk in already with this. It's such a way of life. But moving forward for new applications, I think there will be, and I'm looking forward to some innovative commercial models, right? And if you think about it, and for me who's been in industry for so long, right, this concept you talk about is called the licensing model. Mm-hmm. Right? I mean, you pay for this is what Microsoft license is all about. And when this whole Facebook, Google thing came out, it was supposed to be the innovative, the disruptive commercial model. You do for free. Wow, I remember, and I was in Microsoft at that time, Steve Ballmer said that, how can you do this? How can you not charge? How can you not charge for, then I was talking about YouTube, right? How can you not charge for hosting? I'm not going to give free service, because at that time, he cannot think beyond the licensing model, right? So, but yeah, people found, and then if you recall in our social dilemma, even the Facebook didn't know how to commercialize it. They actually had to bring in people who thought about how to commercialize it. And these are the same people that have moved out and sounding the alarm about the social dilemma, right? So let's see how it moves about. But I think there will be changes. There'll be changes there'll be a lot more consciousness about this targeted ads, about this model, about this commercial model. It will not go away because people are used to, it sounds really good, right? Free. It's free. And I get so much of benefits. Like, talk about Facebook, for instance, right? You get so much benefit for a free ad. And, a lot of the young ones, that I speak to, so what? I grew up in this environment, it's only you old people are not comfortable with this, right? But I think right now, with this happening, there will be a lot more consciousness about this, not only from the user, but also from the government. And I think the tech companies themselves are kind of growing up. They are bringing in more grown-ups to the table, not just driven by technology. I think they understand the implication. I mean, a lot of them do it for the purpose of of solving a problem, like this Signal. Right? We may be having a discussion now. Signal is like the good guy, right? But I was reading some article that says that for them to actually become self-sustaining, they have to have 100 million users. From now they are 40 million, right? So they've got to go for the kind of exponential growth. So how do they go about funding this growth? Right, so where they are coming from, because they're not looking into target content and ads targeting, so they have got to make their app, their usability must be so spot on, and the usability is around privacy, right? So then I'll give you two examples of where they're going to really zoom down on this privacy, and then you will hopefully see where the problem may come up later. So they say that number one, the privacy of images, right? So blurred images. So, and then they also provide a link for you to recruit groups, to recruit followers into this like kind of group.
Yeah.
So this now is being seen as a potential recruitment of, of certain movements. It's almost like the dark web, because you don't see people's faces, right? And then the other innovation is supposed to do to talk about the privacy thing is that now when you open up a WhatsApp account, right, you need to give your phone number. So now they're trying to see how you don't want, because of the privacy issue, we don't know who you are.
Yeah.
But not knowing who you are is going to create this whole thing about content.
Yes.
Later on, you will never know. This could be the above board dark web kind of a scenario.
Yeah.
So so I think the point is that innovation is going to create a lot of good things, but it's going to create the ugly things. I mean, I always give this example, Chun Wai, like roads, right? You build roads, right? You build roads, people can go to school, people go to the mosques, go to temples, but the roads are also being used to go to brothels, so there's always, the innovation is being used for good, also for the bad, and for the ugly. The difference is that, roads is so confined, but this one is 2 billion people in an instant. That is the implication of innovation. For the good also can happen to 2 billion people in an instant, but for the bad also can happen to 2 billion people in an instant. So there's a dichotomy of innovation in this hyper-connected world that we are in right now.
I think it's a double-edged sword when we
It
talk
is.
about privacy. Can you imagine the terrorist groups, the hate groups? It's like, oh my God, they can't trace me now. I have all the privacy that I need, and that nobody's going to track me. So for them, it's really a fantastic device.
Exactly. I mean, you look at what happened in the US, the Capitol Hill insurrection, right? So we had people going in there and they got arrested because they appeared in somebody's posting, right? But can you imagine if it's all been blurred? You no longer. So on one hand, you address the privacy issue, but at what cost? At the cost of enabling something bad, something ugly as well. So it is this balance that we will have to figure out ourselves as we go along.
Yasmin, I want to go back to business model and monetization again, okay? Okay, I'm a very practical person.
You're passionate about that, right?
Because I really believe that the people must pay for content. Businesses, whether it's technology or other forms of development, cannot go on and sustain themselves if there's no money to be made. Okay, now I don't know whether it's a Malaysian habit or it's really a habit around the world that people refuses to pay for content, particularly news and information. Okay, I give an example. Even among newsmen. Okay, so there's the CEO of a very reputable media company in Hong Kong. Okay, so the CEO wanted to install a paywall, but before he did that, he did a survey among his colleagues, the journalists. He says that, what would you pay for content? Give me 1 to 10. Okay, number 1 was Netflix. Okay.
Okay, entertainment, right? Yeah.
Number 2 was Spotify. Okay. Now,
music, also entertainment.
Entertainment, but their own colleagues put news at the bottom. Okay.
Yeah.
So if the staff themselves are not willing to pay for content, I'm very doubtful that the normal average person will want to pay it. And in Malaysia, it's really tough. Okay. Look at Singapore. Singapore is dominated by the Singapore Press Holdings. It's almost a monopoly. It can be any language, but it is still a monopoly. Okay, from TV to radio to print to everything is a monopoly. Okay, and you know that in Singapore there's no existence of independent news portals. Okay, you don't have a Malaysia Kini, you don't have a Free Malaysia or any other portals. There's no way you can exist in Singapore. So basically, it is a monopoly, and yet paywall fails. Okay, now in Malaysia it's very rough because that there are many portals that has come out, particularly in the run-up to the election, that actually tells people, why are you paying for free information? We can give you for free, and they actually advertise that, okay, to push it to you. Now it becomes very but generally, why is it that people just don't want to pay for information. And not just that, I think that people will be willing to buy from the Pasar Malam a 300 ringgit box, okay, those TV entertainment box made in China, okay, rather than to pay to Astro or somebody else. Why do we have that kind of mentality? But it's because I think in US, people are much more willing to pay for content. They don't mind, but not here in Asia.
Well, I think first of all, okay, because there are two dimensions to look at it, right? So more general, I think Malaysians and Asians are not as appreciative about IP protection. You know, I mean, so that's why the piracy rates is one of the highest in the world. So it's almost like, you know, the kiasu way, right? Which is like, if I can get away with not paying something, I won't pay for it. So I think that's more on the broader sense. But when it comes to entertainment, you know, I think there is creativity. I think people are more willing to pay for entertainment, like Spotify and like Netflix, and I think Hulu now is also coming into Malaysia, right? So I think it's just a psyche, lah. I also don't know, but you know, the fact that people are not willing to pay for validated and true news, I think that is more of a concern. For me, you know, it's almost like, and you know, when all this came about, right, it was a bit of it was supposed to be very liberating, you know, it was under this term of democratization of content. So it's no longer in the hands of people like you. It is democratized, you know, so you can go out there and choose what news you know you want to believe in. So when it first started, it had this kind of gallant intention, you know, but now it has gone to the extreme and has to be pulled back, I suppose, you know. So I always tell my friends, it's almost like you know, like newspaper, right? You will just say, okay, I am going to give out the paper for and do all the printing, but the content there inside there, right? Just do whatever you want, lah. You know, just put whatever you want. I'm not going to validate it. I mean, whatever content goes there, you just go and you read it and you decide for yourself. If newspapers come to you in that form, you will be like, whoa, you know, what is happening? You know, you say, oh, why is this wrong news? But when you see it on internet, oh, then it's okay. So I don't know, it's a psyche, but I think we also will be evolving. You know, I mean, psyche changes over time as we learn more behaviors, as we understand, as we get interjection of issues, you know. So I think we will evolve, and we will, you know, innovation always evolves around what consumers want, right? So now consumers are more worried about, you know, privacy. They're more worried about content integrity, right? And content accountability. So I think a combination of, when this happens, then the forces of government coming in or some level of regulation, you know, is going to come in, and the you know, the movement also within the tech companies, within the companies who are innovating, you know, they will start to get rid of the blinkers that they have and start looking at it from more holistic, because if they don't, this is what's going to happen. You know, like Facebook, I mean, like this WhatsApp, it will now trigger the emergence. They have now created a competitive, given a chance for competitors to come in. I think Signal will continue to gain momentum. It will. To what extent, I don't know.
Yasmin, talking about technology, I think that we are really lucky to live in an age where we have access to a lot of information. And when it comes to entertainment, you know that you will never imagine that, of course, thanks to MCO as well and technology, we will never imagine that in our life, in our comforts of our room, thanks to Netflix and other video platforms, we are actually watching French movies, Spanish movies, okay, TV series,
Korean movies.
Yeah, I've gone beyond that. Okay, I watched Lupin. You must watch Lupin, okay?
Oh,
and,
okay.
And of course, I'm watching a TV series made in Senegal. Okay, I'm really hooked to this international kind of TV series and movies. No one would imagine that that will happen. And by watching these foreign movies, it's actually widen our scope, widen our thinking, and that's really thanks to technology. And
Yeah.
that, of course, we have become a couch potato. Uh,
Junkie.
yeah, junkie. And I'm also like, oh my god, I wish I was younger. Okay, so I will be able to learn all these languages.
Oh.
So it's really beautiful. So how much entertainment have you been watching?
Oh. Guilty as charged.
Yeah, this is a quiz. Okay, quiz time. What is the percentage of the content you're using?
No, I think I'm a Korean drama.
Okay.
I've not gone through cynical films, so
Okay.
I mean, that is like extreme, Junwai.
Okay. So you have landed in North Korea by parachute.
Yes, 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 yes.
Okay, Jasmine, I got a question. Okay, this is from the perspective of what I call it a non-tech person. Okay, non-geek. Okay, now. So after all this data is collected, where do they go? Okay, it must be stored somewhere in some servers. How safe are these servers? Where do they go?
Okay. So, okay, so let me answer that in two ways. So, first of all, during this uproar, actually, I don't have the answer as well, unless I am the technical people in Facebook, right? But or in WhatsApp. But basically, they say that they do not hold. Like for instance, they talk about location, right? Because in the terms of reference, it says that they actually collect location. But they had clarified to say that they do not store the location, because if you store the location, it's going to be humongous. It doesn't make sense for you to store it, but they only store patterns so that they can draw inferences to be used for ads targeting. So that is what they claim. Technically, it depends on how much servers that you want to put in. If you want to hold all together, it is allowed under the terms. But from a practical standpoint, they do not, they claim that they don't do it because it's just going to be too much cost to maintain it. They're going to have servers the size of a continent. So but the other thing that that we all need to be a little bit wary about is this whole thing about where data resides, right? And do you have ownership of data? And I'm talking context of AI. In the AI world right now, the whole concept about transparency of algorithms, and where does the data reside, and can the data the data that you have, how much of ownership do you have on that data, is something that is currently a big topic in the world of AI. So if you use cloud computing, right? I mean, there's a big shift going towards cloud computing. But there's also now some discussions around the transparency and the sovereignty of data if you go purely on cloud computing. Although if you hear the argument from the cloud providers, they have all of those data privacy laws and so on. But there's also another discussion that we need to have. Just like we're talking about personal privacy, we need to also talk about and be more aware about the data, and it's more from the corporate perspective, right? About the data privacy and how data is being treated. So, and that is why in the world of AI, there is now a lot of discussion around having a hybrid as well. That means, right now, all of your algorithms and all of your models typically can only be accessed through the cloud. But there is, like the company I'm associated with, SkyMind, is where we're looking into having not just the learning models, not only to be on premise, I mean, not only on the cloud, but also on premise. Right? So yes, I mean, data privacy, data sovereignty is a very big topic in our world. That will have to have a separate session, Junwai. Not enough time for that.
Yasmin, I have one final question before we wrap it up. We live in an age where we talk about staying safe, and that we talk about vaccine, we talk about herd immunity.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to ask you about staying safe and following the herd mentality. Okay. Now, what's your advice? Should we now have an extra application to have Signal besides WhatsApp. What is your advice? Should we do that?
My advice, number one advice, is that understand the terms and conditions, understand the privacy laws. I understand all of those as much as you can. In fact, there are companies right now, actually, I was reading those companies that is actually becoming like your, like your privacy consultant.
Okay.
You subscribe to them and they will go and crawl to all of your applications and they will tell you which are the ones that you are vulnerable.
Oh, okay.
Right? So yeah, I mean, this is innovation. When there is a need, there will always be clever people who come up with solutions to solve those needs, right? So I think that's number one. Just be more and more aware of it so that we can apply pressure on our technology providers, right? I will not, I'm so sunk into WhatsApp, so, but yes, I'm going to start looking more and more, have an alternative, has a backup.
Yes,
what has triggered this is that I was already on WeChat, so I'm gonna go and do more about WeChat because I have a lot of friends. Because the thing is about also, WhatsApp. Why you? Because everybody is on WhatsApp, right? Now more and more people are actually on WeChat, right? I'm not sure about Telegram. I don't have that many. Do you have many friends on Telegram?
No, very few.
No, right? So WeChat also. Are you on WeChat?
I have downloaded and used it, but I'm just not used to it because basically I'm a banana, okay? I'm the English-speaking person, okay? It's very Chinese, okay? And most of the users are people who are quite familiar with Chinese. So I can't get used to it.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
With,
they have the translation as well. But I'm curious as a techie. I mean, as a person in the tech industry, I'm curious about Signal. Simply because of the drama that surrounds it. I mean, because it's got the new business model and the drama that surrounds it. The fact that it was started by somebody who left, who founded WhatsApp. So I'm gonna be watching Signal. But I don't know whether I will be, depending on how it evolves. I don't know whether I would have like. You will always have a primary one, and I think it's the train is already far gone, for anybody to take away from WhatsApp, because at 2 billion, I mean, you have like almost everybody on there.
Yes, past all the stations.
Right, so we'll see. Yeah, it's past all the stations.
The signal is too late. Okay, thank you, Yasmin. You know that you mentioned earlier that there's such a company which can actually sift through and go through what is no good for you. I'm getting this feeling that after this interview, I'm going to get a lot of calls from men users who say that, okay, can you please ask Yasmin, how can I contact this company?
I'll send you the article about this company.
Okay. Thank you, Yasmin, for spending time this evening with us. Thank you very much. We hope to catch up again. And please like, share, and follow Yasmin Mahmood and Real Chun Roy. Thank you so much. Good night.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.